If anyone here is a game developer who would like to freelance, come talk to me.
Oh, okay, so they have opportunities in Sweden to work with you on
Yes, because I do the remote thing.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. Well, exciting session. So, hello everyone. My name is Ahmed Naguib and I'm the GM of Bubblegum Factory. It's a digital agency based in Cairo. And I'm honored today to be with you and His Excellency, Ambassador of Sweden in Egypt.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our lovely judges for the startup competition. If you can, please go ahead and give us a brief overview of who you are and what you do, etc., if possible.
Do you want to go first, or does everyone already know you?
The ambassador is very famous, so it's.
The ambassador is very famous. Okay, I will go
Sorry.
first then. Well, I'm Jenny. I'm from Sweden, and I used to be a studio manager. I don't know if you guys know about the studio Paradox. Anyone? Very strategic games. No? Well, I did that, and now I run a staffing company in the games industry where I rent out subcontractors to the Swedish studios. So if anyone here is a game developer who would like to freelance, come talk to me.
Oh, okay, so they have opportunities in Sweden to work with you on.
Yes, because I do the remote thing.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. Okay.
My name is Magdy Shehata. I'm a Swedish-Egyptian entrepreneur. I've started also a gaming company in Sweden around 9 years ago. And we went public. We did our IPO on the Swedish Stock Exchange in 2021. I also have another company called Söderhub, basically working on linking Swedish companies with opportunities in the Middle East. We have some of our team here in Egypt. And yes, Jenny and I will be on the panel being judges tomorrow for the competition. So super happy to be here.
Exciting, exciting, exciting. So, Mr. Ambassador, you've been a long time partner with the Techni Summit since early beginnings. So can you tell us more about your backing of Techni Summit and the importance of it, etc.?
I think the importance is pretty obvious when you are here. You see all the people, you see the number of people increasing every year. You see Techni also expanding into other parts of Egypt, Cairo and other parts. You have the Mediterranean cooperation. So this speaks for itself. And I think that the secret to this is this environment that you feel here. It's very informal. You can talk to people. You can find your partners. You can go to the workshops. It's open for everybody. There is no constraints or limitations. For us, it's of course very interesting to be able to link Techni in Alexandria to Sweden and the Swedish startup scene and the gaming scene in Sweden. And Magdy is proven that, the Egyptian-Swedish connection, and Jenny is now here looking for talent in Egypt, and so and this I think enriching the Techni Summit even more, and out of this I'm sure will come wonderful things.
Okay. And let's talk about the topic of this year's competition, which is gaming. Like everyone is like, it's the next big thing. It's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than the. So, where do you see the value or the potential of gaming in Egypt and the cooperation between Egypt and Sweden as well?
Well, I mean, in Sweden, gaming industry has been built up over a couple of years. It's now going from the very startup phase where things are doing things in their garage with their parents' computers and this, into university education in Skövde in Sweden, where you have a whole ecosystem or a science park, you can call it, around this. It's getting structure, it's getting more people involved in it. But we need talent. We need more talent to be part of this system. And I'm convinced, absolutely convinced, that many of the people here have the right talents to go into the gaming industry. So I think the potential for Egypt is huge in this industry.
And I would like to ask you a question about what happens to the winners of the competition. This is very interesting and very exciting.
They will go to Sweden in November.
Okay.
Which is not the ideal time of the year because it's
not
cold,
very
so I
exciting.
recommend to bring a good jacket with you. But if you have that, you will go to DreamHack,
Okay.
which is the largest LAN event in the world now. This is a wonderful experience to be part of this, but also be able to meet other startups, entrepreneurs, gaming industry, and so. And we have seen that this creates many connections and many business opportunities. So for the pitching, I would say go for it.
Exciting. So I will ask the judges now to explain to me like how the competition will go and your criteria for choosing the winners of the competition.
That's a very good question. So we were told that there was a live session actually being played yesterday by also one of the judges that have been broadcasted, and thousands of people were watching that. So they've played the finals, like the finalist games that have been submitted. It looks very promising again, I was told. So one key aspect that I think we would like to see is, at least maybe I can speak for myself, how coherent the team is in working together, how solid that project, the game they are working on, and really see that there will be an opportunity given to them when they go to Sweden. Because, I mean, going to DreamHack and at large, seeing the ecosystem in Sweden, the gaming industry in Sweden is super developed, not just compared to Egypt, but really on a worldwide scale. So what we would like to see is that this team comes to Sweden and then comes back with some added value to them. They can either grow by getting an investment, getting an opportunity, getting connected to the right people as well. So I mean, it's perhaps some different aspects, but we would like to see definitely an added value of them coming back from Sweden.
And our
Yeah, of course, that is the grand value that they're getting. I mean, DreamHack is going to be a lot of fun. I can tell you that already. But the added value, of course, is that you come back and maybe you can grow your studio or, you know, make this game into a success. But apart from that, I mean, I will also look at the team composition. Have these developers done something successfully before? Have they done it together? What type of genre? Like how does the market look right now for that genre? Is it how fierce is the competition? And then, you know, what are their plans to stand out in the crowd?
Okay, very nice. And can you tell me more about what will happen tomorrow? I was told that there is something that's going to happen tomorrow that's very exciting.
Regarding the competition,
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to spoil so many of the surprises just yet, but yes, there will be some exciting stuff, I'm also told. So we will see. I will not say more.
We will just say be there and you will see.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's very important to be present tomorrow for the competition.
Very important.
Because there is something very interesting and exciting that's going to happen. Okay. Going back to gaming in Sweden, like as the ambassador said, like it has been developing over the past few years. Out of your experience as someone operating, both of you's experience when it comes to operating in Sweden, can you tell me more about like your development and how it progressed over time?
Yeah, I think, like the ambassador said as well in his other speech, it started very early that we got access to computers, all of us, and it was a very garage scene of people, sort of a very early modders almost, trying to make whatever games they could make. And from that it grew, and now it's very developed. And I think the good thing is that we have everything from the really large AAA studios to premium mobile, but also we have a really flourishing indie scene. So we sort of have the whole scale. And to me, the beautiful part is that everyone is very generous in the scene. We share our learnings, and it's not so competitive. We want everyone to succeed. For example, if you saw Agnes here on the screen, she's the creative lead at Mojang. one of my friends, she's very, very approachable and very, very friendly. And she goes out and she shares her learning. And I think that is one of the keys to why Sweden has been successful, because we've all built on each other's successes.
That's very interesting. And the fact that Magdy is here, I think it's a good example of how even like people from outside of Sweden like can go in and can be a part of the community. So can you tell me more, like given that you're the link between the...
And I'm originally from Alexandria. If any of you is from Alexandria. أنا اسكندراني جدا من ميامي أصلا لو الناس عارفة. So the community is definitely super open for people coming. At least the gaming community is very open. There are equal opportunities in certain aspects. So as a stranger coming in, yes, you do find that you could definitely get in. But one more thing that I have seen in Sweden that is very different from many places, and definitely in the Middle East, is education in gaming. We've always, I've had my own company in Egypt before I went to Sweden. It wasn't in gaming, it was something else. But when we were doing Overpink, and I have some of the co-founders here, Hussam and the guys, it was very different back then when we were hiring interns, because to us it was like a sunk cost. If you're gonna get an intern, there's like no production coming out of that. When I went to Sweden and we started having interns in the gaming industry, I was shocked by the quality we get, because these guys coming out of the university have been educated by not just the most updated curriculum, but let's say you're gonna build some games in your university, they get people from the industry to teach you how to do that. So more often than not, when we get interns in the company, they actually teach us new methods. They teach us, oh yeah, no, the way you do this for shooting, for example, that's very old. Now in the uni, they taught us how to do it in this way. So we get value from the interns. And that, in my head, again, coming from here, so it flipped the entire paradigm on its head. And as Jenny have mentioned, also the VCs are very well educated in Sweden. Unfortunately, we don't have that across the Middle East, not just Egypt. So very educated on gaming, I should highlight. So they understand the gaming KPIs, and they will be able to spot a game that could potentially scale to hundreds of millions of dollars, or maybe just few of the millions of dollars. And then, this requires a different funding from that one. So it's an entire ecosystem. It takes years and years to build companies like, as the ambassador, His Excellency, have mentioned in his opening speech today. We have King, Candy Crush. I think everyone either have played Candy Crush or knows Candy Crush.
Everyone is addicted to Candy Crush.
أو مامته وصلت لليفل 1000 وبتدور على levels تانية. Everyone knows it. And Minecraft, everyone knows Minecraft as well. And Call of Duty, for example, that came from DICE. That's also Swedish. Yeah, so there are many kind of these games. So, and the best part that you get people coming out of that starts their own company. Again, like Jenny, she left Paradox, where she joined, I think it was a much smaller company than it is today. And then Paradox became that giant it is. And then you get these people who knows the things from the inside out, starting their own companies. And so hopefully we will start seeing that momentum in the Middle East as well. That's my hope, at least.
Can I add some to that? Because I really agree that we're 20 years in, so we have a very developed ecosystem. Like all the regions in Sweden have their own game accelerator. It's not only Shove that we have a bunch of them. But I see a lot of similarities. Now I've been here for a very short time, but I see the same kind of passion and will to sort of develop here. And that's where we started. So I think if you want to build on the games industry here, I think you're very well set up. You just need the first accelerator program, and then you will build from there.
Very exciting. And can you tell me more about, like you mentioned at the very beginning when you said, like you're open for people to join your company remotely, etc.
Yes. How do you do that? Yeah, so how it works is I work with a lot of the bigger Swedish studios, and like the ambassador said, the biggest issue in the Sweden game industry right now is that we cannot find enough people. So what have we done? Well, we've started to buy studios all over the world just to get people.
Okay.
But also now it's a growing thing to use outsourcing and work for hire and contractors. So what my company does is, I work with the studios, I find out what they need, and then I go find freelancers and I place them with the studios. So I basically scan the world for great developers that could go help the Swedish companies. I matchmake, exactly. I am the Tinder for game development.
That's very nice. And Mr. Ambassador, can you tell me more about the objectives behind what you're doing right now, with the competition, with your cooperation with different entities here in Egypt to strengthen this connection? Can you tell me more about it?
No, but I think it's what we do as an embassy. We connect people and we facilitate meetings of different kinds, like the kind we have here, but also other areas where we meet startups or other parts of the Egyptian society. How it links up, I think Jenny just explained that, they're looking for talent all over the world because this is an industry that doesn't really recognize the borders, I think. I mean, it's more important to get things going. And there's an opportunity here to, of course, sit in Egypt, work for a company in Sweden as a freelancer, to look at these matchmaking sites that is available. So to get this idea and to maybe think, can I do this? How could I do this? That I think then we have succeeded. Then it's a success for me also when these connections actually happens.
And I think you mentioned that you see the potential behind Egyptians in this industry as well.
I mean, we all know that Egypt has many challenges, not least in the economic side. And it's easy to make a long list of all the problems and things that we discuss and talk about. But when I come here and I see all these talented, dedicated, engaged people, I get really positive about the future of this country. I think the future of Egypt is to a very large extent here in Techni in Alexandria.
That's very nice. And would you like to mention or highlight any other activities that people can join or participate that the embassy actually does in line with this as well?
We have several activities that links up to the startup scene. We work with an organization called Entrepreneur, for instance, which try to support female entrepreneurs, which might find it even harder than the guys to find financing, for instance. We're looking at the textile sector and see is there an opportunity for nearshoring in Egypt for the European market, and so there are really many ways to connect to this and to be a part of this. So we continue to work with Techni, we continue to work with other fora, and we're very happy whenever we see these connections actually happen.
That's very nice. And I'll go back to our guest. So, when you mentioned, again, matchmaking people, it's what are the main criteria that you see behind a successful or a good developer?
I mean, right now, it's if it's a programmer, it's Unity or Unreal that you have to work in, because I think, and this is me guessing, the bigger studios, at least in Sweden, they all use Unreal. The more indie studios, they use Unity, but they don't really use contractors in the same extent. Mm-hmm. So if you would like to go down the contracting route, I would suggest that you get familiar with Unreal. Otherwise, it's a lot about having worked on similar game genres. So a good idea could be to look up what if I want to work in a special country or a studio, what do they do? And can I somehow get experience in there? I mean, you can do mods, you can do your own little game, but that is a big criteria. The right tech and that you have some experience in that game genre is very important.
Magdy, would you like to add anything to the criteria?
No, I agree with Yanni, absolutely. From a technical perspective, companies would really look for that. But then also you have the interpersonal skills also, right? So if you would like to work with remotely, at least with companies in Finland or in Sweden, I guess it's no need to say, but maybe also important to highlight that, I mean, you have to have a certain level of English skills, right? So you work on your level of communication in general, be ready for that. Try to read a bit more about the studios there. What do they look for? What's their, how does developers there, what do they do and what kind of activities and such? Because I think if 10 people apply for a job from Egypt, it's not that one gets chosen and 9 get said no because they're like, the position was only for a one person. More often than not, what I see is that a lot of people get rejected because they usually lack all the other things that come with this technical experience. So I think it's very important, and probably saying it to the people who are already attending Techni might not have the same value for people who didn't attend. But if you do come to these kind of events, it shows that you are interested and you have passion for this, and this is something you want to do. Having some entrepreneurial or like taking an initiative also can get you so much more. So it's, there is no clear path, I would say, to like, if you do from 1 to 7, then you're the developer that will be like hired in Sweden in this way. It's, people might reach the same point through different routes, but between this tech experience and tech stacks that are very important and your interpersonal skills, you probably will have what it takes to work with a AAA challenge or something that is more complex than the usual casual games you see in the Middle East.
Going back to Mr. Ambassador, like when you look at your collaboration now with Techni and the future of it, the now situation, like when you were presented with the idea of the competition and how it got formulated, etc. How did you approach it? Like by bringing experts from Sweden and from Egypt and Sweden, and what excited you about the competition?
No, but the exciting thing, I mean, I was standing here watching the pitching going on a little bit last year, and it's so impressive. I mean, to see, of course, the energy and all of these things, but also the level that these companies are. You might think, on top of your head, oh, they just have a bright idea and they have no, but they have thought about many of these steps that we heard Magnus Rehn talking about, They have a business idea, they have often make various market studies and so this is a challenge for the judges, I think, that this is going to be on a high level, guys. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for you either. Huh?
Oh, that's good. I'm always happy to see personally that with these kind of competitions that the embassy is sponsoring, and the theme changes, right? So if you're not into gaming, I mean, come back next year. It might be something else. But what I like about this is that, as His Excellency have highlighted, the level keeps going up, and this is how you can measure progress. How these early stage companies come and showcase what they do, because in the startup world, you have the Death Valley, the first year or two of startups where almost everyone fails, like 9 out of 10 companies would fail, but then you have this one company that continues and usually goes out and hire people from these companies that have failed. And as this level goes up and up and up for everyone, that means that the person or the team that will succeed will be able to also attract better and better team, and that will catalyze the entire ecosystem. This is why it takes years to build. There is no magic wand where you can go like bam, and then you have a gaming sector. I mean, some neighboring countries now are putting billions of dollars. I mean, Saudis have billions of dollars on the table now for gaming. And I think this will not only benefit Saudi, but that will benefit the entire region as well, because similar to many industries where, you staff up through, like even in Sweden, as Jenny said, so Sweden is not enough. Like you need to get talent from outside. It will be the same case in Saudi. So there will be a big demand in the next, before 2030 hits, there will be demand for game developers, high demand for game developers out of Egypt. So I think we will see a boom in that sector over the next 5 years in Egypt, as well as a shadow to what's happening in Saudi Arabia.
And then I think the next step, what we're seeing in Sweden now, it's spilling over. Not only is the gaming industry hunting for developers, so does adjacent, like Volvo are also now looking for game developers because they all make simulators and they make them in Unreal. So they're also looking for the same people now.
So I think it's important, like, given that it's a borderless industry.
Yeah, talent is borderless. That's what we always say.
And it's like all over. So I guess Sweden as well, the companies in Sweden are trying to target these kinds of potential markets using talents from these markets as well. So Egyptian talents can do very well when it comes to targeting like the Saudi market, for example, etc. So I think there is a lot of win-win benefit behind this. And Mr. Ambassador, would you like to have any like final remarks or comments to the team or the audience today?
No, I think you summed it up beautifully. I think there is really win-win opportunities here, and I hope that the participants here will take this chance.
They're very excited.
To see, I mean, can I do this? How can I do this? And again, I mean, go for it.
I would like to remind them of what they get if they win. Can we tell them again what they would get if they win the competition?
They will get to go to Stockholm. They will get to participate in DreamHack, fantastic, inspiring event. They're also going to meet different parts of the startup scene in Sweden. And in the gaming sector, we will obviously be looking for contacts in that sector for them. And then it's up to them. You know, now they know the people, what do they want to do with it? What are the opportunities? Then it's over to them.
So it's a big opportunity of networking, meeting people, creating connections.
Absolutely.
Maybe you might end up working with our lovely judges.
No, we don't want that. We don't want them to work for Jenny. We want them to continue, exactly, to get this company, build it up out of Egypt, build this game. So this is what we will help. I will make sure Jenny doesn't acqui-hire the company. I will safeguard it.
She can acquire later, not acquire.
Later. But first we need
give them some time
to beef up the talent in Egypt. Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you, judges. Very exciting. Please join the competition. It is the rewards are very good. Can I join them? Like, can I travel? Can I come on the trip? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.